Hey, I'm JaCo FaKo, and this is my Draw Your Life. Alright, I was born Jacob Struck, October 15th, 1987. Not a bad year at all. My family, there's me, my brother Zeke, and our mom. Now, my mom pretty much raised us because after a while my dad was out of the picture. They got a divorce when I was 8 years old. About my mom, her name's Virginia Struck. She's about 5 foot nothing, little short Sicilian lady, and she's artistic. She paints, draws, sculpts, you name it. She's a little bit of a tomboy, and she swears like a sailor, which is awesome. My dad, I didn't know him very well. His name was Michael Struck, but he's 6'6". He was an avid reader. He spoke 7 languages. He was an amazing gardener and a great cook. But there was a problem. He was an alcoholic. The divorce, that shit sucked. Let's see. Alright, I grew up in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is pretty close to Chicago, in the west suburbs. Growing up, we had a nice house in the suburbs with a garage and garden, but that place was haunted. Now, most places that are haunted, it's by like a human-looking ghost and stuff. This place, looked to me more like a wolf. And when it would come down the hallway and stuff like that at night, it would float like a foot above the ground, and it was just really, really scary. My brother, my mom, me, our dog, we all saw it, and that thing scared the shit out of me. I called it Scar, and that thing, I fucking hated that thing. Growing up, me and my brother fought a lot, probably because we were upset about what was going on with our parents, and because we were left home a lot. In fact, every day we'd get off the school bus, right away we would start arguing and fighting and throwing fists at each other. Just bad stuff. In fact, we had a favorite game. It was called Who Gets to Be the Only Child. My mom was working 3 jobs after the divorce to try and support us, and while she was out chasing that money, I was left at home alone with just my brother. And we fought every single day until one day things escalated pretty quickly, if you know what I mean. My mom got home off of her 3rd job, and there I was in the kitchen along with my brother. And she was surprised because we were both super angry and bleeding and had black eyes. And my brother grabbed a kitchen knife. A fucking kitchen knife. So he's pissed off and wanting to hurt me and get back at me. He grabs the knife and he starts yelling at me. And I was looking at him like, dude, seriously? And then the phone rang. I pick up the phone because I was right next to it, and it was a force of habit, even though all this other stuff's going on. On the phone was my buddy Jeff. And then Zeke grabs the knife and he's screaming and he comes running at me with it. He was straight booking it. and we were both thinking the exact same thing, that he was gonna kill me with it. I told Jeff, I'm like, now's not a good time. So he came at me with the knife, and without even realizing it, I kicked the knife right out of his hand and straight up into the air. And the knife got stuck in the ceiling. And I was surprised about that. I didn't expect that to happen. My brother, he was surprised about it. And so was my mom. The three of us were just standing in the kitchen like, what just happened? Even Jeff was surprised. After a while, I look at my brother, and he looked at me, and we were both thinking the same thing. Oh shit, because my mom was pissed. We both got an ass kicking that night. Life wasn't all bad. Growing up, I had a lot of cool things going on around me, and I filled free time by playing with my pets or catching frogs. And we had birds and stuff. I really enjoyed animals growing up. I also learned how to draw, and I did it pretty well, and I enjoyed it. And there were some woods by our house, so I used to go hang out with those with some of my friends and my brother. And in school, I participated in a lot of talent shows, and I really enjoyed acting. I had a pretty good childhood. A lot of this was due to somebody very cool in our life, my mom's brother, our Uncle Frankie, who used to take us up to McHenry every once in a while and go fishing, and we'd hang out with him during the summer when my mom had to work. He was very, very cool. I loved my Uncle Frankie. But that's a completely different story. One day in school, I wasn't really paying attention to the teacher. I was just kind of drawing in my notebook. And I drew something pretty cool. A bell went off in my head. I drew a pumpkin face on the notebook paper, and it was like, eureka, I got it. I started drawing this everywhere. This became my thing. I drew it on my homework, drew it on notebooks. I even drew it in the men's bathroom. I drew it everywhere. Eventually, my mom found a new boyfriend. His name was Ryan. And he proposed to her. And they ended up getting married. He was a douchebag. So we packed up our family in Schaumburg and we moved to Lawston, Illinois, in central Illinois, near where Ryan grew up. And even though my mom and Ryan eventually got divorced, we were too broke to move again, and we ended up living in the cornfields. During high school, I went through kind of a weird phase because of everything that had happened to me, and I didn't have any real friends that I knew of because we just moved, so I ended up being an oddball. I stayed indoors a lot of the time and stood away from other people and just kind of like played around on the computer making drawings and animations and stuff. So I really enjoyed the computer, but I hardly went outside anymore. One thing cool about high school was yearbook. I got on yearbook and I really enjoyed it because the few friends I did have, I was able to take their pictures and put them in the yearbook. And this was the tits. I mean, I got to play around with computers and make something that the whole school was going to see. But I put little secret codes in there. The first line of every paragraph spelled out things like Jake and the Ramones. And I put a lot of photos of people that were expelled or didn't even go to my school in there. They didn't appreciate that. Then one day in high school, I met a girl. And she was beautiful, but there's something special about this girl. She was a juggalette. And while the relationship didn't really last, the music did. She had burnt me copies of Cottonmouth Kings and Insane Clown Posse and stuff, and I was hooked. I became a juggalo. I'm talking big time. I was going around the school with my face painted, and I started going to shows, everything. Then I got my first job working at Taco Bell. And that was pretty cool because everything seemed like it was back on track and everything was going all right. In fact, my first day working there, I met this kid who, he was a little weird looking, but he was funny. In fact, he was a juggalo too. His name was Schmo. Well, Schmo made the food, and I was on counter, and pretty much every day that we worked together, so we got to be pretty quick friends. And then one day, he asked me if I wanted to go to a party. I said yeah, and I was surprised at how many people were at this party, and all of them were juggalos. I ended up making a lot of really cool friends that lasted for a very long time. And everything was good again because I had a social network to hang out with. I had a lot of people to hang out with. Eventually, time came when I graduated high school and I got my diploma. It seemed like everything was set and I was on my way to college. And that's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. Now, I had graduated, and in the process, I landed a full scholarship to the Art Institute of Schaumburg, my old neighborhood. I thought I had a free ride, and I did. But I went to IVCC in Oglesby, and I was the first person in my immediate family to go to college, and the pressure was too hard. I dropped out. I still regret it to this day. I ended up getting a job at McDonald's as a cashier, and I was a little bit depressed because that's not what I wanted for myself. But things were cool because I was working with somebody else very cool, my brother. In fact, on the first day that they went ahead and made a name tag for me, my boss misspelled my name 3 times. She kept spelling JaCo, and was missing the B. Once again, something in my head clicked. I thought that, hey, this sounds pretty cool. I'll call myself JaCo. The name stuck. In fact, everyone I met from there on and all my friends started referring to me as JaCo. They'd be like, what up, JaCo? Shit was cool. I had a nickname. So I continued to mess around on the computer, and eventually I got myself a digital camcorder, and I started making DVDs and films for all my friends. I called it the JaCo Show. And everyone I showed it to really liked it, and I was happy. Eventually, my brother, me, and this other kid named Bobo all got together to make a project, and we decided to start a rap group. We called ourselves Sickest. I was writing like a fiend, kept making lyrics and beats and music on the computer, and it seemed like everything was joining together. Sickest and the JaCo Show gave me a lot of stuff to do in my spare time, but it didn't last, mainly due to one band member, Bobo. That's a different story. I still make the JaCo Show, but now I post the videos to YouTube. I moved to Peru, Illinois to an apartment with my couch, my computer, some pictures, and a whole mess load of houseplants. It's pretty cool. My future plans? I don't know. I like drawing still, and cartoons are cool, so I'd like to animate. I might even move back over to Schaumburg, maybe even out of state. I still like being on stage and entertaining people, so I might tell jokes, be a stand-up comic. Well, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for watching. Peace out.